there, this is Sally, and welcome to my channel, Stop and Stamp the Roses. Today we're going to be making this card. Thank you so much for purchasing a card kit, and I'm going to give you step-by-step instruction on how to put it together. Let's just move that right over here. So when you get your card kit, you want to be very careful when you're taking everything out, because there are some small pieces. We have the embellishment for the center of the card. It's on this really little tiny piece. So I recommend you put this right back into your bag, so that way you don't lose it anywhere on your workstation. So the first thing we're going to do is work with the flower petals so we can shape them. So let's take there are 4 petals. So we'll put this aside. I'll put the glue over here. You want to get a really nice absorbent towel when you're working with it. So not just a paper towel. You want a really good towel. Let's put our 4 pieces down. And then I'm going to get this little water mister. I love this water mister. I believe I have some on my website. You want to make sure where your nozzle's at, because yes, I have sprayed my face a couple of times. So there isn't a right or wrong side to the petals, so whichever side you want to use. And we're going to just spray them. I spray them quite liberally because this is a nice 80-pound weight cardstock, and it's going to absorb the water. So I'm just using my fingers just to move the water around. Let's get some more water on that one. There we go. And I think I have enough water. Oh, a little bit more water on this little guy. And the more you work with the flowers, you'll understand how much water you really need. But you want to make sure that the petals are malleable. There we go. Yeah, that feels good. Put your lid back on your bottle. So we'll start with the largest petal first. And what I'm going to do is take my forefinger and thumb on the left side of the petal, and then my forefinger and thumb on the other side of the petal, and I'm going to bring it together and just kind of push on with my forefinger. And see, I'm kind of really making like a Z. See how that looks? So I'm using my forefinger and thumb, and I'm putting a little bit of pressure there so I don't get a crease. You want to go a little bit slow when you're first starting working out with these petals, because if you go too fast, you're going to end up creasing it, and it's just not going to look as natural. I have spent lots of time looking at flowers and all different types of flowers, and notice the petals are all different. So you can just see how I already creased it a little bit, so now I can manipulate it a little bit better. I'm just kind of playing around with it. See, I'm just moving it around different ways. But see, I got a little carried away here. See what I mean? I put a crease in that one. But let's just kind of work it out, and then there we go. Next thing you want to do is actually put your finger down the center, put your thumb, and bring each petal towards the center, because you want to put a little crease there in the center. Now we're going to bring all the petals to the center, turn it upside down like this, and kind of just give it a little nudge, and then flatten it out. You want to go ahead and place this on your workstation to let it dry upside down like that. So I'm just going to put that aside over here. Here's the next layer. Same thing. Put your forefinger and thumb on the right side and the forefinger and thumb on the other side. See how I have that like that? And then just put a little bit of pressure and crease it with using your thumb. It's kind of like whenever you do pie crust, I think, you know. So I don't know if you've ever baked pie crust with your grandma, and then she does it so quickly that when you try it, it doesn't look as pretty as hers. Well, she's been doing it a long time. Now we're going to move this towards the center. Just give it a little bit of a crease there. And now bring it all to the center. It doesn't matter which one's in front of which one, you know, just bring them in. Flip it over. And see how it kind of got a little irregular? So I'm just going to give it a little pat there and just kind of flatten the bottom out. Okay? And put it down to dry like this. Here's the next one. Again, with your forefinger and thumb on either side of the petal, and just manipulate it, just give it a little pressure, and just have it go like that. There we go. And now bring each petal to the front. See, I'm just bringing each petal in. There we go. And now bring them all in. I think I might give this one a little bit more dimension here. There we go. Turn over. Again, flatten that out a little bit. And you want it to dry like that. Now with the smallest one, we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to put your forefinger in the center, and then with the other thumb and forefinger, you're just going to give it a little shape. It's kind of like a C shape. If you want to use a pencil or a pen or something like that, you could do that, but I just feel like using your fingers just easier. See how it's just cupped around? That's what you want. Just a little cup like that. Flip it over and just kind of flatten out the bottom. There you go. And let that dry like that. Okay, so we're done with our flower. Let's get our towel out of the way. So now we're going to work with the rest of our card. So you're going to have a card base that's 110-pound weight, and it's cut and folded in what we call tent fold. And then your next layering piece is this nice purple, and we're going to use some white glue. So let me just get this little glue bit off of there. When you're working with white glue, you want to be careful that you don't put too much, because when you put too much glue on paper, it makes your paper tend to warp. So see how I made just circles around? You can hear it because I was putting pressure on with my glue, because I'm trying to push it into all little nooks and crannies there. Just like a little bit, just barely. So you don't need a whole lot of glue, okay? Now, when I'm putting my layering piece down, what I do is I use my other fingers like this to push the paper, this cardstock down. And then with my forefinger and thumb, I bend the card so I can get the center down and kind of eyeball where it's going to go out. And then I slowly bring it out towards the edges. Then I put my hand on one side and I burnish the other side. And then I move over from the center, push out, and burnish the other side. I just do that a couple of times just to make sure I get my card base really glued to this layered piece. There we go. It's gorgeous. Next thing I'm going to do is put my little green accent here. Now when you're gluing these, this does have a right side and a wrong side. So one side is nice and has like a beveled edge to it. So check that out. Flip it over, look at the other side. This has a really sharp cut edge to it. So you want to make sure that you're going to have this top smooth, beveled side to the top. So I'm going to turn it over. Whenever you're gluing leaves, it's in just different embellishments, it's easier to put the leaf towards your palm and hold it with your thumb like this as you're working with it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glue on the leaves only. You don't need to put the glue on the actual stem. So I'm going to put the leaves, just a little dab of glue. Just like that. Then come back around. See, you don't need that much. So then get a hold of the stem like this, since you don't have any glue on that, and then grab the outside edges of the top one. Now you can kind of guide it, and I usually stop at the top. I dropped it there and there, and just push down. Okay. All right. Now this piece of ribbon, you're gonna be surprised what I did here. I just tied it in a little knot. So just take your ribbon, fold it on itself there, hold one piece. It's a really nice soft ribbon, so you don't have to worry about that. See, just a little overhand knot. I just kind of worked it around until I kind of played around with it. There we go. So that's going to go right there on my edge. This ribbon does take a lot of glue, so you want to make sure you get a good blob of glue and push it down. Now if you have a glue gun, I think this would work great with a glue gun. I don't use a glue gun because I've burned my fingers so many times. I have not mastered a glue gun yet. Maybe I will someday. I don't know, but right now I just hold that down for a little bit. So this also gives my flower some time to dry. I just keep pushing down. It does take a little bit for this because the ribbon is a little, it's a woven ribbon. So it takes a little bit for that glue to penetrate. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, so now we're going to get our flower. So you're going to figure out where you want this flower. Let's see. I decided to go ahead and go with a different saying on this one. Oops, let me get some tape, because yours will have tape on the back of it. There we go. Okay, so I decide where I'm going to put my saying here. Let me turn my ribbon a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now I can decide where I want my flower. So see what I did? I kind of just played around with it. I didn't secure my saying yet, but also it helped me move my ribbon angle a little bit more, so that way I'm able to get my saying on there. So now I'm going to put some glue on the bottom of my flower. I'm just going to put my flower right there. The flower petals have a hole in the middle, which is great because it helps you kind of line up your petals. Put some glue around that petal. Now I like to use some tweezers. I just got some inexpensive tweezers. So you would take this petal and line it up in between the two of the petals. So it's called offsetting your petals. Line up your holes there and put some pressure. There you go. Now, if you look at here, these two are shaped so similarly. So I'm going to lift this back up. So I like this glue. Gives you a little bit of wiggle room. And I'm going to move that petal over to a different area. So that way my petals look a little bit different. There we go. So see, that way that shape has that shape over there. Now put some glue on this outside this one. Get a hold of a petal. Again, you want to offset this, but at the same time you want to line up your little circles there. Let's move this over a little bit more. There we go. There, can you see how I'm getting that lined up there? And see how I'm offsetting the petals here? Now we're going to take this last one. Put some glue on there. And now let's offset these petals. And line that up. Oops. Let's see. This is where these tweezers really come in handy. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to add just a little bit more glue, just a tiny bit more. There we go. This embellishment for the center of the flower does come with its own adhesive, but I like to add just a little bit more glue. One of the wonderful things about this particular glue is that it does dry clear. So I will get my little embellishment and put it on the side with my tweezers. There we go. Then put that there in the center. And then just push down a little bit. So even though you can see some glue around there, it will dry clear, so you won't see it. So now I'm going to take this backing off of here. Now this particular tape, that I really like this tape, but once it goes down, you cannot move it. So I usually put in the center, so you have these areas to kind of manipulate where you want to put it. So I'm going to put it back like this. And then put it down. Because once you put it down, it's not going to move. And there's your finished card. Well, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed making this card. Have a great day.